It's no secret that we love Crazy Taxi here at the Sega Guys. I mean, who doesn't love Crazy Taxi, right? The dream is surely to become a real-life Crazy Taxi driver, just like these guys. Anyway, last December, Sega released their Power Surge trailer, which serves to announce new games based on their classic franchises. In case you missed it, we did cover it here on the channel. I mention that because amongst the return of Golden Axe, Jet Set Radio, Shinobi and Streets of Rage was Crazy Taxi. Like those games, we only got a snippet of gameplay from that trailer, but we did also get this interesting slide from the presentation, shown a few weeks later, something we also broke down on this very channel. This week, it seems new details have been confirmed, with the most prominent being that the new Crazy Taxi game will be an open world multiplayer title. I say confirmed because these details were leaked by the account known as Midori some months back. I can't find those tweets now because Midori has deleted their account. After all, what is Twitter without some bloody drama? According to the leaker, we are in for not one but two Crazy Taxi games, the first being a remake of the original game, and the second a AAA live service multiplayer title which will form part of Sega's Super Game project. While the remake wasn't mentioned and the word Super Game was conspicuous by its absence, a recent interview from Sega Sapporo, the team behind the new Crazy Taxi game, was shared by the official Sega account on YouTube. The interview here is entirely in Japanese, though there are some translations out there, while I opted for the YouTube AI translated closed caption option myself to view it in real time. In the interview, we see that Sapporo is a predominantly young team, which is in line with the Sega of old. As an example, the Sega Saturn Virtual Cop team were pretty much all newbies at the time. A few of the Sega Sapporo staff discussed their views on the series' chaotic design in a realistic city, and we get some insight into the art and stage design from the various teams within Sapporo. They mention they're going for a West Coast blue sky look, which will be music to the ears of long-time Sega fans. Of course, they do confirm in this interview that it is going to be a multiplayer experience, stressing that they feel this sort of action game is much more fun when we all play together. This really should have been obvious from the trailer, where we saw multiple taxis all jostling for position, as well as player-controlled police cars giving chase. This did cause me to speculate as to what sort of objectives the multiplayer mode would entail. Interestingly, the developers in this interview mentioned that the maps are created to facilitate, and I quote, lots of different games. So to that end, it seems as though there will be a literal crazy box of multiplayer games. The team here state that they're going for a theme park-like atmosphere, and from what we've seen and heard, it certainly seems like a playground. Now, the whole open world multiplayer focus may sound divisive, because it sounds far too much like the deluge of underwhelming live service titles that we've had in recent years. But in my opinion, if you put aside the thoughts of marketing buzzwords and boil Crazy Taxi down to its core appeal, this actually feels like the natural progression for the series. For a start, the series has always been open world. If you set the game to a timed one, you could just cruise around the entire city at your leisure without actually doing any objectives whatsoever. There are aspects of the map design that evoke a circuit-based racer, and that's part of Crazy Taxi's genius, but the map is very much one of the earliest examples of a huge, fully 3D open world. That leaves the multiplayer. Again, what is multiplayer? It's generally just playing with others. The first Crazy Taxi game may have been a single player game, but it was certainly a social experience. First and foremost, it was an arcade game, which meant before it came to Dreamcast, it was played where arcade goers would all congregate. And then, what is the ultimate objective? There's no story in Crazy Taxi, and while you can get to the end credits by getting a Class S license and above, Crazy Taxi at its heart is a score attack game, with an inbuilt focus to comparing and chasing scores of both friends and rivals. So yes, the social aspect of Crazy Taxi has always been there, not directly, but at least in spirit. And lest we forget that the PSP ports in the Fair Wars release also had multiplayer, which was actually very well received at the time. In fact, the multiplayer components were more well received than the ports themselves, and personally, I found them to be a lot of fun. So yes, It's great to get an update on the brand new Crazy Taxi, and while some Crazy Taxi fans may feel this wasn't what they wanted, I personally feel that this is the right choice to bring Crazy Taxi back and to keep it fresh and relevant. But we would love to hear your thoughts on this news. Are you excited for this new Crazy Taxi or any of the other announced Sega titles? Drop us a comment below and don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications so you can keep up with brand new Sega Guys content, including our podcast, retrospectives, gameplay videos, and of course, news such as these brand new Sega games. But until next time, we will see you on the Sega side.